Nevada weather getting warmer. Hi, I'm Mom
And I'm Melissa Lambert, and this is Public Eye News. I tried to do it longer, so hopefully this is happening. The second annual 906 Polar Roll Fat Tire Bike Race began on Saturday in Marquette and Ishpeming. The 15-mile race got rolling from Anytime Fitness in Marquette, and an earlier 35-mile race started in Ishpeming. Racers didn't mind the warmer weather, even though it made the groomed trail unstable and slippery in some areas, but the bikers simply powered through. The races would go to wrap up at Matson Lower Harbor Park at a Fat Tire Bike Expo. And the Calumet man charged with breaking and entering and stealing a Camaro was sentenced on Monday in Houghton County Circuit Court. 37-year-old Isaac Laplander was sentenced to 2 to 10 years in prison and credited for the 272 days he has already served. Laplander will also be required to pay more than $5,000 in restitution. He was arrested for breaking and entering into Harder's Auto Supply store in Calumet last April and stole a Camaro from Kissel Chevrolet days later. He entered a guilty plea for both crimes in January.
The weather is getting warmer, but the Upers are still hitting the slopes. Mount Ripley still has many people skiing, snowboarding, and tubing despite the warm weather. The trails have bases between 2 to 8 feet of snow depending on the slope. We're expected to see more warm weather this week, but that doesn't mean you can't take advantage of the groomed slopes. But keep in mind, temperature this week may go into the high 30s. But that's still pretty cold weather out there. Many Upers are finding comfort from the cold by using saunas or saunas. Some doctors say using a sauna helps remove toxins from the body and can even help with arthritis. But it's important to note that when you lose weight in a sauna, you're actually losing water weight, not fat. And it's advised not to use one if you are prone to a heart attack. Otherwise, enjoy using a sauna at the PEEF or maybe at your local YMCA.
One man's shooting spree across Kalamazoo Saturday night killed 6 and seriously injured 2. Kalamazoo police arrested Jason Brian Dalton at 12:40 a.m. Sunday downtown, 5 hours after the shooting spree began. The first shooting occurred around 5:42 p.m. in Richland Township, where a woman was shot multiple times in a parking lot and is in serious condition at Bronson Hospital. 5 hours later, a father and son were shot and killed in a parking lot of CL Automotive. Nearly 20 minutes later, 4 people were shot and killed in a Cracker Barrel restaurant parking lot near the interstate. A 14-year-old in one of the vehicles at Cracker Barrel is in critical condition at Bronson Hospital. And the state of Michigan is getting tens of millions of dollars from the federal government for a facelift on the state. Last year, Congress approved spending $2 billion to tear down blighted buildings nationwide. The U.S. Department of Treasury says Michigan is eligible for more than $300 million of the Hardest Hit Fund, and nearly $475 million is available immediately. In recent years, Hardest Hit funding has paid for demolishing blighted buildings in Detroit, Flint, and other Michigan cities. Detroit Mayor Mike Dugan knows Michigan is not guaranteed anything yet, but is still excited about the funding. And stay tuned, because after the break, we'll be back with your national and international news.
It's a daunting challenge to build a robot that can save lives in a disaster.
Start your robots.
Can these machines ever behave like humans?
When you try to instill human-like manipulation skill, it's just very hard to do.
And if they succeed, are we ready for the consequences?
We need to be considering both good and bad effects.
Rise of the Robots on Nova.
Wednesday evening at 9.
And welcome back. Bill Cosby's wife has been deposed today in her husband's lawsuit case. Cosby had to attend a deposition at a hotel in Massachusetts. The meeting was private and was held with her lawyers and the lawyers of the 7 accusers against her husband. Cosby's lawyers insisted she should not have to reveal any information on her husband's sexual allegation charges, but a judge upheld the meeting. Meanwhile, Bill Cosby's preliminary hearing is scheduled for March 8th. There's just one more day until Republicans in Nevada will caucus, and the race is beginning to focus on just a few of the candidates. Daniel Nottingham is in Las Vegas with the latest from the campaign trail.
Fresh off the South Carolina primaries, the race for the Republican presidential nomination heads to Nevada, and Donald Trump is hoping to keep his hot streak going.
I love to win. Don't we love to win? Love it.
This past weekend's results in South Carolina make this virtually a 3-man race between Trump, Marco Rubio, and Ted Cruz. Cruz is making the claim that he's the only candidate who can challenge Trump.
It is becoming clearer and clearer that we are the one campaign that can beat Donald Trump. Indeed, we're the only campaign that has beaten Donald Trump.
Some Nevadans we spoke with like Cruz's conservative message.
I think Ted Cruz speaks to people like myself who are pro-life, who are, are not afraid of God in our system and want to return to constitutional values.
While Rubio is trying to make a mainstream appeal to all Republicans.
Of the people left in this race, no one can unite this movement or this party faster than I can.
Rubio has drawn support from new kid on the GOP bloc, Donnie Wahlberg, who says he's voting Republican for the first time.
I would much rather have a Republican tell me something that I don't want to hear than have another Democrat tell me every single thing I want to hear just to get my vote.
John Kasich is looking past Nevada to Super Tuesday. He's campaigning in Virginia, which votes a week from tomorrow. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Las Vegas.
A New York mayor wants his city to be the first in the U.S. to offer a supervised injection facility. Ithaca Mayor Suvant Myrick said heroin users would be able to use the drug under the care of a nurse. Myrick hopes the new facility will connect addicts to recovery services in a step to discourage addiction in the city. At similar facilities in Canada, Europe, and Australia, medical professionals step in if a user overdoses. Myrick needs state permission to open such a facility, and his proposal will most likely face opposition. State health officials have not yet commented on the proposal. And a film that strives to take an authentic look at autism hits theaters this week. Terry Okita has your eye on entertainment.
A movie opening this coming weekend takes on the challenges of autism. Anna Sophia Robb plays a teenage runaway who passes herself off as a caretaker to make money in the film Jack of the Red Hearts.
You said you worked with autistic children before.
She forms a special bond with an 11-year-old autistic girl.
Who's that? Mommy. Good.
Both the writer and director of the film have autism in their families. X-Men star Famke Johnson plays the autistic girl's mother. She says finding caretakers that are experienced and affordable is a big concern.
I think that burden that you constantly must feel as a parent of, what is going to happen when I am no longer here.
Jack of the Red Hearts opens Friday. The Oscar-nominated film Spotlight comes out on DVD tomorrow. The movie is based on the Boston Globe's 2001 investigation of sexual abuse within the Catholic Church and the church's subsequent cover-up. Spotlight is up for 3 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Supporting Actor and Actress. And the film that took top prize at the 66th Berlin Film Festival over the weekend?
The Golden Bear for Best Film goes to Fuoco Mare, Fire at Sea.
Celebrities hit the red carpet this past week to attend screenings. The festival also offered free tickets to refugees. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Terry Okita, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The United States and Russia have come to an agreement on Syria. U.S. officials said today that a plan for ceasefire in Syria has been made with Russian officials. The formal announcement of the terms and conditions will be announced after President Obama and Putin speak on the phone today. The Syrian opposition alliance led by Riyad Hijab also said he stands with the truce. The agreement was already announced in Jordan yesterday. And Greece is preparing itself for more migrants. Greece's government said today that it is expecting a record number of refugees to enter its country. Macedonia has already placed restrictions over the weekend, but that has only angered many Afghan refugees. Nearly 100,000 refugees have already entered Greece, and thousands are still waiting outside its borders. And after the break, we'll be back with your weather and sports. Stay tuned.
These devices and machines and everything we're building these days, whether it's phones or computers or cars, are throwing off data.
It's the data that creates understanding and knowledge.
I don't think it's an issue of climate change or health or jobs. I think it's all issues.
If we can just save one life, it's already worthwhile.
Join us Wednesday evening at 10.
Welcome back. I'm Douglas Hardy with your Public Eye News weather. And if you look behind me, it's another gray day here in the UP. Not too much is happening on campus as everyone's getting ready for spring break. As you can tell, today it's a cloudy day with a temperature of 30 degrees and winds southwest at 4 miles an hour with a barometric pressure of 30.23 inches and dropping. Tonight, it's partially cloudy with a low of 21 and winds south-southwest at 6 miles an hour. Finally, tomorrow it's going to be cloudy with a high of 38 and winds south-southwest 9 miles an hour. Taking a look around your UP, we can see that it's a pretty cloudy day, with one exception. Sault Ste. Marie is 22 and sunny. Manistique is 27 and cloudy, as is Escanaba and Menominee. Over in Iron Mountain, it's 25, Iron Woods, 26, up in Houghton, it's 28 and partially sunny, and back here in Marquette, it's 30 and cloudy. Let's take a look at your weather ahead. On Wednesday, there's a high of 32 and a low of 23, cloudy. Thursday, there's a high of 26 and a low of 16 with snow and wind. And finally, Friday, there's a high of 28 and a low of 20, partially sunny. So this kind of icky transitional period is not the best period, but overtime is debatably worse.
Yeah, overtime is debatably worse, especially for the Detroit Red Wings right now, it seems. The New York Rangers found a way to win when everything seemed to be going against them. They had a third period goal disallowed in a scoreless game, and they saw Red Wings goaltender Jimmy Howard stop a late penalty shot by Jesper Fast. In the end, they still found a way to walk away with 2 points for the 7th time in 9 games, as Kevin Klein scored on a 2-1 break at 1 minute and 59 seconds of overtime, and the Rangers beat Detroit 1-0 on Sunday night. The Rangers' game winner came seconds after Heinrich Lundqvist battled to stop a shot by Gustav Nyquist. Klein didn't wait long after taking the pass and ripped a shot that found the top right-hand corner of the net. The Wings' next game is tomorrow at home against the Blue Jackets of Columbus. Another offensive outburst lifted the Cleveland Cavaliers to a statement victory, even largely without Kyrie Irving. Meanwhile, the shorthanded Detroit Pistons continued their free fall with another defensive lapse. The Eastern Conference leading Cavaliers seek their 6th straight win tonight while extending a losing streak of the same length for the visiting Pistons, whose season-high skid has them on the outside looking in on a postseason race. The Cavaliers shot 51.3% and scored 95 points through 3 quarters on the way to a 115-92 rout of the Thunder, a consensus championship contender in the West. Detroit dressed only 11 players for Sunday's 111-106 loss to the New Orleans Pelicans, as Donatas Montejanis and Marcus Thornton were unavailable due to complications from last week's trade with Houston. And finally, police in Wichita, Kansas say former Dallas Cowboys running back Joseph Randle has been arrested after hitting 3 people with a car and bursting into a home. Police Lieutenant James Espinoza said Monday that after Randle was ordered to leave a housewarming party early Sunday, he hit the 2 owners and another man as he backed out of the driveway. None of them were seriously injured. Espinoza says Randle then returned and broke through the front door. Espinoza said Randle was also in possession of marijuana when he was arrested. Randle is jailed on a $100,000 bond on suspicion of aggravated battery, drug possession, and criminal damage to property. It was not immediately clear if he had a lawyer. Well, many people may or may not know, but today is actually the 36th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice in which we beat Russia 4-3 in the 1980 Olympics.
Of course.
But all those guys are legends, and I hear that we have another gentleman from Ohio who's in his teens but is already up to legendary status.
You're right, Dan. He is legendary indeed. Let me tell you more about it.
I'd like to hear.
A teenager from Ohio pretended to be a state senator and got away with it. The teen posed as a senator and toured around a high school, even giving a speech to the student body. The school only realized it was a hoax when the actual state senator showed up for a speech weeks later. And a library in Ohio just completed 60 years at her job. She has handwritten book catalogs since the days of President Eisenhower. Many say she loves her job, the students, and most of all, books. That's quite impressive. 60 years as a librarian, all those books. Dan, do you think you could do that too someday?
You know, eventually, I feel like I could, just kind of sitting in a library. You'd have a lot of time to pass. I mean, perfect way to do it is read books.
Well, that's all the time we have for on Public Eye News. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.